Hey, Allison. Good to see you. I'd be feeling a little better. You got the kitties. Nice. Nice. Not sure which sketch cover to draw. My anxiety's been at like a 12 for the last 2 days. So, what do we go with? We got Rom. We got some sort of DC villain thing that could be interesting. Sheena, Deathlock, our old pal Rich Buckler's creation. This is Justice League, Power Rangers, Vampirella, Josie and the Pussycats. I should give that to Jay. Jay Kennedy has a sketch, a real cover coming out from Archie. Should just give that to him. Spider-Woman, X-Force, and Superman. Rom, I think it should be Rom. I don't know. Rom's tough to draw. Checking out all the random variants in the back. My desk is a mess. I'm sorry. All right, I guess we'll try to draw Rom. I'm going to work a little different than I usually do. I want to come up with a good composition. Let's come up with a good framing. We got our title here. Well, you're just sick. You'll feel better. You'll get better, and you'll be back kicking butt on your drawing streams and making comics. You're already making a killer background today when I saw that. Should Rom be flying? Or should Rom be? Should we take it easy on ourselves and just have Rom be? Part of me says we should have one of the dire wraiths. A letterbox? Oh, this is just on my board. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. I've been inking in my free time, what little there is, so I haven't done a lot of penciling right lately. I got this one. I think I got this one when we were at a convention out of that bin from that dealer. I think that's when I got this one, Allison. I did print out one of those Crackus prints at work today. I brought some large paper. I printed out a copy of the Crackus diptych. I'm hoping to have these made on actually waterproof paper. So you could actually take your Undersea Hero posters undersea. It's pretty cool. It's this 4 mil matte paper that when it's printed on, the ink is got a coating on it, so you can actually take it underwater, which is kind of neat. But yeah, this was printed out and working on that. And I actually, for conventions coming up, because I ran into it at the last show, I got myself one of these chip readers that connects to my PayPal, and it'll take all the different wireless pay. This is the Zettel Reader 2 by PayPal, and they had a special where it only cost me $30. Um, Now I'll be able to take Chip, Apple Pay, Google Pay, all the cards, all the major credit cards. Um, yeah, right there. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Apple Play, Google Play. So at conventions in the future, you'll be able to use a card or whichever interesting payment method that you bring to my booth. Um, all right, well, I'm just going to go to it, I guess, and just try to be kind to myself. Ah, thank you, Tom. Yeah. Hey, I ran into it at Philadelphia where I definitely missed out on a sale because I didn't take Apple Pay or something, and I was like, I think the new PayPal takes those things. Hey, Ashley. Hey, you're way ahead of me. That's pretty cool. I'm it's all new to me. I'm barely above, credit card and cash. Like and then the other thing people were asking about it was it wasn't the Cash App, it was another one, as far as in some sort of e-paying method. But I'm gonna actually go with this first one that we started with right here, where I sort of quartered it off. Rule of thirds. Actually, our thirds are going to be down here, so. Can you pay me in Bitcoin? No, unfortunately. Yeah, I have not got into that level of. I don't trade in crypto currently in my life, so. I have had friends ask me about the whole NFT thing, but I have so far abstained from that market. The NFT market, I don't know if I will be doing that, but we'll see. See how the comics market changes and how publishing changes. Can't say never. Will I be at Colorado Springs Comic Con? There's a very distinct possibility that I will be, and I might be at Denver as well. So just working on cost, travel, etc. for everything, figuring out where the hell I'm staying and all that fun stuff. You gonna be around this year? You bringing the ragamuffins around? Santon asks, "Do you work long, stretching hours? Can you tell me what you keep motivated to work more?" Yeah, I work stupid hours, I would describe it as, because I work a full day of doing, you know, stuff for altered reality and like design and artwork and all that stuff. And then I work like all night and weekend on comic stuff. And, it's a combination of like staying motivated. And then this was what I described during my, totally right, Tom. Totally agree. Can't go wrong with a good comic book in your hand. But I mean, um, you never know. Like, who knows? Like, if Marvel or DC called and they're like, "Hey, we want you to draw the Uncanny X-Men NFT," then like, I don't know. I don't have much of a choice. Like at my level, like the discrepancy between myself and other artists in the field is pretty vast. My opportunities are fairly limited. Um, but yeah, what I was saying as far as like timing, one of the things that I really had to learn how to do because I couldn't get rested, like I couldn't like wait till I was rested to do everything. So I had to figure out what I could do while I was tired and still do it at a professional level. So like I can't pencil when I'm super tired. I just can't. Um, So what I generally do when I'm super tired is I can do lettering or website update, or I can even do a fair amount of plotting. I can't do good writing when I'm tired, but I can do plotting. And the difference between writing and plotting is the level of finish. Um, But yeah, as far as staying motivated, I have bad days. Like the last couple days, as far as my mental faculties are concerned, I've been very stressed out. I've got a lot of very expensive decisions I have to make in a short amount of time, um, for my work and for like personal stuff. There's just a lot going on. So something like this, I'm just trying to be light and forgiving towards myself and not too hard on myself. I tend to be extraordinarily hard on myself. Like, heck, I had a piece of art in a book that got nominated for an award today, and I can't, like, my anxiety is not letting me enjoy even that. So, what's your schedule like? I mean, I think everybody in here works their tails off. I don't. I mean, it's definitely taken years of my life off for sure. This schedule. Oh, thanks, Allison. I mean, it's exciting, but it's nerve wracking because there's just uh, at my level, shows don't like roll out the red carpet all the time. It's because they base who they give their guest spots to on who they think is going to move the most tickets or whatever. And I think that my strong suit really comes from being, as far as me benefiting a convention, is that I'm always at my table, and unless an emergency happens, I'm always on time, and I'm there the whole time. And I do enjoy doing a panel that's geared towards getting people interested in making comics. Um, so I think that those are. Oh, I've done that too. Don't worry. Science says, thanks. I have a messy schedule as a storyboard artist. I'm working on different projects, but sometimes the dates collide with each other and I mess up that time. I make those mistakes too. Like right now, I literally have a stack right next to me of about 10 things that I have to take to the post office. Like the artwork is done. I got the art done on time, but I've got to get the originals off to the people that purchased them. And every day I get to see that pile and feel like it's the anxiety and like depressive thoughts, but it's like, oh, you're a failure. You didn't get those in the mail. Like that's what my brain tells itself every time I look at the pile. The weird thing about Rom are those squared shoulders. They make it hard to really add anything. Hey there, Brian. I don't know if you saw it earlier. I did print one of these off at the copy on the copy machine at work. Hey, thanks a lot, Ashlyn. I've never done the Denver show, obviously. Have you ever done that one? Is that I've heard good things. That's why I put my name in the hat for it. And they offered me a table, but I gotta get myself out there and you know deal with the hotels and all that junk. At least Colorado has easy sales tax laws for out of town artists. See, I knew one person would be excited for the. Okay, cool, cool. I've heard it's a good one for artists, so I figured I'd give it a shot. All right. Well, we've got our planet here, and I would just like something else to help frame it. So, like some electricity or something coming off from the side. There's actually a ROM Space Knight artist that pops in every now and again. His name's Rich Wentworth. He's done a few covers for them. I'm seeing if there's a picture of the nullifier. I know they changed all the designs for this comic. I don't know if I have my phone here. I can look it up. Phone is running out of juice. There's a great John Byrne, Steve Ditko cover. This giant ray gun. Tom, that would be really exciting. If they could get it together, I think that would be really fun. Because I don't know, I don't know if you read did you read the rom comics as they were coming out? Because I didn't. Um, and I found it in the dollar bins afterwards, and just they were just fun space adventure comics. Yeah, I mean the bargain bins. I've heard people say, the bargain bins are a bad place for your book to end up, but I've always disagreed because like so many artists that I have given like thousands of dollars to over the years, I found in the bargain bins at comic book stores. It's nice to see everybody tonight. The one thing I have to plug is the my DC Trinity sketch cover that is for uh, the cancer research. I forget which institute it is, but it's for pancreatic cancer research. I don't know if anybody else has had friends or family members have to deal with that disease, but I have. Um, it's for of course, he didn't label it. There it is. It's currently at $62, 0 bids. If I have to buy it myself, I will. The Lustgarten Pancreatic Cancer Research Foundation. The auction ends tomorrow. I'll be sure to share it after the stream today. But it is on my page if anyone feels inclined to support that. It's run by Todd Zavarakis, the zombie leader fellow. This is the cover that I did. It's got Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And, just trying to help them raise some money. I'm not very confident with this ROM sketch, but we're gonna see it through to the end, whatever form that is. Finally getting a haircut this weekend. I don't know if Tom saw me in Pennsylvania. My hair is far too long. I like being able to, throw it up in the Conan O'Brien coif, but it's gotten to the point where it's got like the wings happening on the sides and does not look good. No amount of product is saving my current hair, in spite of my best efforts. I forget, is there? I think there's a second panel. Yeah, he's got like an weird choice for the design to be like, you know what? He needs literally a washboard ab. Look at that washboard ab. Oh, I'm sorry, that was inconsiderate of me, Tom. I honestly didn't think of it. As I've said many times, if mine starts to go, I'm just gonna, try to pull off the shaved head look. I've got like a 50-50 shot that it goes any day. Because like my grandmother and grandfather both died with full heads of hair, but my uncle went bald at like 25. Right now, I'm just trying to get some energy and not try to be too precious with it. You look silly like me, Brian says, with horseshoe hairdo with a thin ponytail. I don't think I could pull it off. I don't know. I don't think I have the bone structure to pull it off. I'm sorry. I'll leave that to the experts. See, I just want to have like a pow, like see the bend in it right there. Back when I was doing what I called my tall period, the legs of this guy would have just like gone way off the page and been like super long and wiry. And I don't know, I was really going for it at that point, really bold design choices. I actually really need to be working on this wraparound cover that I'm working on that I'm looking forward to announcing. Um, but I'm just not allowed to show it on the stream, unfortunately. Some of my pals let me put their covers on the stream, which is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that, and I think it helps get the word out, especially for new books. Oh, that's good to hear, Desiree. I still haven't seen it. I hope it's really good. I hope to get to see it on the big screen, but my work has not let me do anything except work. So the only editor that calls me regularly and calls me at all hours of the night. I'm getting a call because I'm sure it's because I sent him an email today and doesn't want to deal with it. Hey. Allison says, if I think if I drew him, I would really try making him up. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could come up with a good design. I'm just trying to go simple tonight. Redesigning a character on the fly on a live stream would be even more nerve-wracking experience for me. I think the hips are messed up. There's one. Try to redraw. Oh, thank you. Well, having you and my other friends here is helping me get through it. And I really appreciate people coming out. I don't know. I've just been all out of sorts in between my ears the last few days. I've been trying to at least go outside during the day once a day to get out of the house and get some sunlight. Get out of the office. Oh, actually, that's very nice of you to post for me. Thank you. I was actually trying to post it, and I just kept messing it up. And when I tell people I'm not great with this, it's not. I promise it's not false modesty. It's just I'm not great with the technology stuff. Heck, for me, getting those what do you call it? Time lapses done. That's about as advanced as I get with Premiere Pro with Adobe video editing. I'm just adjusting it a little bit to coincide with the lighting so that we can drop this foot back. It'll be darkened out. You can't have, a dark on dark. So I'll just expand the planet a little bit. And we'll try to. I know, Allison. I know. Just you got your life going on and haven't been feeling well. I don't know. I'm just trying to do my best. Try to enjoy it when I get it done right once in a while, but the good thing about Ramis is I can make up a lot of my issues on this thing with the metal texture. Tom asks, how many hours did it take us to get home last week? Jay and I left just at, I think at 4:30. We get walked off the floor, and then we got to the car and we filled up with gas. And Jay didn't get back till after 1. It took us a long time. So what is that, like 7 hours, 7, 8 hours for the whole shebang? And we actually took us an alternate route back from Oaks. Um, we did not take 95 all the way through Connecticut because when I did that coming back at Christmas, it was a nightmare. And so we took a different route. It was a littler road that kind of reminded me of Route 9. It's called 20, 23, 21, something like that. And according to my phone, it was still faster than taking 95. Yeah. So probably 7 hours. That's probably what it took. Let me just take a look and see how it's coming. I'm doing a reverse check, so I'm holding it up to the light and seeing how it looks. I don't know if anybody saw, but they renamed the Connecticut Altered show from Comic-Con to it's now one of the Contropolis shows that they are running. So that's a new thing. I do wish I had a little more time to work on some of the stuff they use to announce it, but all we can do is the best with the time that we have. Tom says, Jay and I made good time Monday to the point where we made time to stop off at Yakko's shop in Melford. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the only one I've never been to the other store. I've been to the Milford store. It's a real nice store, especially since he did that redo of like the back wall and everything. He added like all the slabs on the wall. All right. I think this leg is still a little wonky. Yeah, I did the signing at his. I did a Christmas sale at Yakko's store. That was the Angry Geeks were there. They had a administrator or somebody from CBCS was there. Um, I actually drove down when Ron Garney was signing at his store at one point. Um, I've always liked Ron's work. The Get Mystique story, I think, is an all-time great X-Men story. that I think more people should know about, but it gets forgotten because it was right around the same time as uh, what was the future story? Old Man Logan. So people, you know, kind of gloss over it as Jason Aaron wrote it. Yep, I agree. I think it's a terrific story. Yeah, I think it's a great story. They must have put it into a trade paperback by now. I was actually at New York Comic Con at one point when he had pages for it, and I ended up going with a DC page for once. I had it narrowed down to one of his penciled Get Mystique pages and a JLA splash page. I might have it right here. Hold on. This was the page I bought. And you can see it has Superman, Flash, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and Martian Manhunter all around the JLA table. And then you have the characters all interacting. And they were the same price. And what grabbed me was just this image right here of them at the table all talking to each other. And I know that these are basically like little stick figures, but this was such an arresting composition for me. And it was penciled and inked by Ron. And then when you flip it over, you can actually see he does the flip over too to fix the anatomy on the faces. So like he drew it on this side, and then to check it, he went over here and made corrections and then put it back on the light box when he inked it. So yeah, that was New York Comic Con. There was one, and it was, I hadn't planned on buying a page, but Ron had just gotten a bunch of his artwork back from Spencer, who was his agent, is his agent. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was one of those where I was just like, okay, I have to buy this. I saw it. Yeah, I mean, that's how I looked at it. I mean, as much as I love Wolverine and I love that story, like it was just that top panel where I was just like, wow. And they were the same price. And that's what, you know, could I have had a cool page with Wolverine? No claws out. He was just like hanging out at one of the bars or something when he was, or it wasn't one of the flashback sequences. Mystique wasn't on the page. You know, I was just shocked that a page that was penciled and inked by Ron with that big of an image at the top was the same price. So I'm trying to think. I think it was $100. That was a $100 page. Sorry, I don't really have any. I think it was worth it. I do, and I had the money at the time, so like I think I had just sold a couple of pieces of artwork, so it was kind of like a trade. Like I was trading some of my artwork for a nice page. Tom says, but you could probably get it or an identical page from him at any of those shows he does in the tri-state area. It's true. It's true. And he usually has a stack of pages. I went to a signing at Yakko's with it. He was there and he had a stack of pages and I bought a much less expensive. He had $40 pages. Like I was, if you have a page for $40, from a book that I like, and it was inked by Tom Palmer. It was a Midnight Suns page. I got it for basically nothing. And again, not another time where I was like, oh, I'm gonna hop in here and invest in some artwork. But it was just like couldn't pass it. Very fair. You're totally right. I know he charges more for his sketches, because that takes time away from his other work, and he does a fair amount. So like his pages, he's getting paid like a second time for them, and he just has so many because he did monthlies for decades. Like he's one of those artists that has like thousands of pages under his belt. Which is almost unheard of now, like doing monthlies for decades and just building up that giant pile. But as Jan Dursema explained to me, she's still figuring out how to get rid of some of it. She sold me a page of hers from Arian Lord of Atlantis for I think it was like $30 when she was at Rhode Island. Hopefully we can have her and Tom Mandrake at another show. They're really, really nice people. I ate dinner with them. I'd met Tom a number of years prior at, I believe, either Mid-Ohio or Pittsburgh Comic-Con. Tom says, plus he's not rude. He's a regular guy, no ego. I think so. At least every time I've talked to him, it was funny. He was like talking about he remembered where he was when he was doing some of these random pages, and he was just telling people about like, oh, I remember going to the grocery store when I was living in this apartment, for this stretch of time. I hadn't met, my current wife yet, or it was interesting because that's how I remember, stuff. As far as like, I've obviously done nowhere near the body of work that he has. So it's easier for me to remember, I'm sure. But I can remember, oh, I had to, not go to this movie or not go to this thing because I had to stay home and work. Allison says, I was going to say you could grab a random book and he might have drawn it for a while. It's true. Like Captain America, Iron Man, the X-Men. He did a decent chunk of Uncanny X-Men, like shortly after, during the 2000s movie stint when they were wearing like the black jumpsuits. Mutant X, yes, yes. I actually met the inker on that at a dinner, Andrew Peapoy, and I told him like, "Oh, they did some really cool stuff in that book." And he said something like, "I don't know, I just inked it. I didn't really read it." I was like, "Cool." Anyway, he's a very nice fella, but he's not the only person I've heard that from. I think Al Milgrom told me the same thing about some book that I'd asked him about. The 420s. There you go. If you ever have X-Men questions, Tom is the person. I was actually wondering one thing though about as far as like the X-Men go, and I know it hinges on, the Disney development and like what happens in the movies, unfortunately, is if because by the time I was working at a comic book store, the Legion of Superheroes were not cool, and they were like your dad's super dorky comics that he read. And I'm wondering, I hope that the readership is good. Um, and obviously, I want the readership to grow. I'll be interested to see where it goes, once they start pumping out, X-Men projects with Disney or whatever. We got a bunch of people in here tonight, so thank you all for coming to hang out with me. It's been a stressful stretch for me. I've still got like a handful of decisions I got to make on some conventions, some big ones. People have been asking me to, do more West Coast stuff, and I've got an opportunity to do that, and I just have to get the confidence and do it. Some days I have it, some days I don't. Geeks and Drinks, how you doing? Good to see you tonight. I'm gonna grab my dry brush. I gotta be honest, like every time I've tried to get into the Legion, I couldn't. Like I just couldn't. I've read the starts to every run now. I like the Starlin stuff that he did is whatever his nom de plume was at that point, something Apollo. Because I like Starlin, I think I was able to get into it, and I like the writing style, and it was familiar. But yeah, I've tried the Coipel run. I tried the Wade, the Lanning, all the Giffen stuff. Just wasn't for me. I hope people, enjoy it. Thanks, Tom. He says to make time for me. That's what I'm trying to do right now with this sketch cover that's, you know, currently just for kicks. Yeah, he only did a handful of issues, I think. I could be wrong. Again, I've only read, I would pick up a chunk here, a chunk there. I know I'm Facebook friends with Paul Levitt, so there's like the outstanding chance that he sees this, but it's just like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I liked your other stuff. I liked when he wrote uh, action comics or adventure. He did adventure. I agree, Tom. And that's why I tried some of those like supposed clean start points, like the Lanning and Coipel one from like the early 2000s. And I tried Wade because I always seem to like his writing. But yeah, it's the maybe it is. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's the homework level. Lately, I've been drawing like big gnarly thighs on people. I don't know. I don't even know why. I think it, in my brain, I'm like, oh, it looks more powerful, but that's not always true. Tom says I tried going through the latest issues of Shazam and Wonder Woman, and the books were cool, but the cliffhangers were too predictable. I haven't read those. I've actually been meaning to read some Wonder Woman lately. I want to pick up that Phil Jimenez one shot. It was a little more expensive, so I couldn't afford to pick it up the last time. But the next time I go to the store and I don't have anything else to pick up, I think that's what I'm going to get because the artwork looked really pretty. Um, and I don't remember if he wrote it or if it was with Gail Simone, but it was a prestige format book that looked pretty cool. I like a lot of Mark Waid's writing. I really do. I loved his Cap. I loved his Daredevil with Chris Samney. He always works with really good artists. Trying to think of him. I think actually, Tom, we talked about like that's like one of the big what ifs was if because Mark Waid only wrote a couple issues of X-Men. Like he was supposed to do a big run and then he was gone. He left, or they wanted him to leave, or whatever happened. It was cool to see them interact with each other, but it fizzled out too quick. Okay, all right. I take it was just like a mini series then. His run on the Flash. I mean, yeah, his Fantastic Four is like, in my opinion, like the last Fantastic Four that I was just hooked on. It was him and Mike Wieringo. Had a great Doctor Doom story. Yeah, exactly. The Pre-Heroes Reborn one. That one was really, really good. The Mike Wieringo run on FF, I love it. It's one of those books, unthinkable, great story. The Doom origin with the goofy magic. I love that story. I freaking love that story. Yeah, it's corny, but I still loved it. The whole, yeah, Jack Kirby playing God thing. It is. I wholly admit it's corny. I happen to like it. It's Jay Kennedy, artist on Archie Comics, popping in. He's got a signing this weekend at That's Entertainment, so people should, if they can't make the signing, bug him about ordering a copy of his new Archie comic. Allison says, "Wait, he isn't God?" Question mark. Of the monthly comic book, it's hard to argue that he is not. Of course, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to getting a copy. I got my copy of Ant that I bought from the store, signed by Jay Kennedy. Jay Kennedy, published by both Archie and Image Comics this year, so round of applause for him. He's been grinding away. Another guy who's just stuck at it and kept grinding. Oh, that's right. I had totally forgotten about that one. That one was also written by his Telos co-creator, Todd DeZago. Todd's a great guy. He has with I actually just backed it today. The monster cryptid book that he and Craig are doing right now. It's on Kickstarter. Um, Todd's a great guy, and I'm hoping he'll hoping I'll see him at a convention soon. I have not seen Todd. I remember this is a story I like to tell from when I was a wee lad. I was probably 15 or so, and Todd and Mark Wade had a panel at Mid Ohio Con about making comics. Like they had a making comics panel. It wasn't called that. It was probably called Writing for Comics or something along those lines. And Todd opened the panel um, by asking the crowd who wants to make comic books. And like everyone in the room raises their hand. And then Todd asked the question, who wants to make comic books even if there's not a lot of money involved? And I was the only person that still had their hand up. I told Todd that story when I worked on the Telos book, the tribute. He got a laugh out of it. I actually have like 2 sets left of that I brought with me to Philadelphia, and that was the one book that was the sale that prompted me to get the chip reader, actually, that I missed out on. The guy was like, "Oh, I'll buy the," because it's retails for $100, and I had them for, both of them signed for 50 combined. Um, and he was like, "Oh, I can't because they have to go to the ATM or something." And if only you took tap pay or whatever. I'm sure you could, Allison. I could see you doing it too. Even the two fellows I was at that panel with, two friends of mine, they put their hands down. They were like, "No." Now, drawing metal was like a thing I had to figure out, and actually, I can tell you the exact drawing where I figured out how I liked drawing metal, and I'm sure I've shown it to you folks, and many of you have seen it and might even own it. It was the variant cover I did for Joe St. Pierre's um, new Zodiacs book. That was when I figured out how I like to draw a metal texture, and that's actually with a very interesting organic line. Allison says, I think I learned by copying John Byrne. I believe that. Yep. I always thought his Colossus was great. A lot of people like to cite Bob Layton. I tried mimicking all those folks, but it was so mechanical, the process, that I just couldn't, I would lose patience with it. I couldn't do it. So I just kept experimenting and trying different stuff until eventually I found something I liked. Jay Kennedy asks everyone in the chat, Betty or Veronica? Allison says Veronica. Um, Bollinger says Veronica. 2 votes for Veronica. Betty is down. Betty is falling behind the Veronica votes. Was I the only person that read the Adam Hughes, Betty and Veronica series? Because there's no reason why he shouldn't be drawing that book for as long as he wants to draw that book. And I've heard from both he and the other book from Archie that I adored was Dean Haspiel's The Fox. If you haven't read Freak Magnet by Dean Haspiel, you're missing out on one of the best superhero comics that came out in probably the last 20 years, in my opinion. Yeah, and the whole thing with Veronica's dad buying the malt shop and was going to close it and turn it into something else. And that was the basis for their feud. It was Betty versus Veronica. That's right. Yes, my mistake. Jay said did great indie stuff as well. Dean Haspiel, yeah, yeah. You know, he's done his own books. He worked on American Splendor. He did the Quitter, a phenomenal comic book if you're into graphic novels. He did that with Harvey Picar. He does the Billy Dogma series. He's got several books of that out. I've only met Dino a couple of times, and I'd hope to get a sketch from him someday. But he's never sketching whenever I see him. He's always busy chatting, which is his prerogative. But he also strikes me as a guy who keeps all his pages. So I never see his work for sale, his published pages. Catch you later, Jay. If I don't talk to you before then, have a great signing, man, and congrats again on the cover. It's a great thing. All right, so now since we have some dark here, what I'm going to have to do is see how I had that band of light there. We're going to have to expand it a little bit. I never figured out the organic flowy space energy. I have to do kind of like a chunky one. That's a I don't know why. I just never figured it out. feel my brush pen running a little low, so I'll just grab us some ink. Allison says, get that classic space feel going. I can only kind of get it with watercolors. I find space super hard with watercolors, so that's pretty neat. You'll have to send me some of your space watercolors. I'd like to see those. I have a hard time with that for sure. Just because I have a hard time building that contrast unless I go like I did one piece that was the Tick and Silver Surfer, a mashup for I think it was the last time I went to San Diego. I did for someone. That came out okay because I was basically smearing like straight out the tube. Payne's Gray, my crutch color, if anyone who's ever seen any of my watercolor videos. It is my crutch, without a doubt. I met Chris Ryle a long time ago, back when he first started doing IDW comics. He was doing like Mage Knight comics and stuff. And back then, like he was talking about, this was probably 2000, 99, somewhere in there, 2001. Okay, yeah, I will check that out. And like his goal was to publish rom comics somehow. He was going to figure out the right situation and get permission to do rom comics. And his dream came true, obviously, because he wrote this with Christos Gage, who worked on like the Daredevil TV show for Netflix. So I guess that means he's probably on strike right now. I don't know if anybody saw Ben Edlund's beautiful picket sign, his placard with the tick on it for being on strike. Got a bunch of folks in here tonight, so thank you for hanging out with me. This time I remembered to have my tea in the afternoon so I would not be falling asleep. I figured this sketch cover would be more entertaining than watching me cut out paste ups, which was the other thing. I was like, oh, I need to do some more paste ups. One of the pieces of art I have to ship out is a cover that I did for Rodney. Actually, I told him I would put paste ups I would paste up the logo. So. I don't know if I was supposed to say that over the internet, but I think it's a present. I think it's a secret. I think I just blew a secret. Oh well, let's It's my own fault for taking so long to ship the things. I caught part of his last drawing group, his last drawing stream with the group of folks. Thursday night throwdown. Yeah, we chatted on the thread there. I like that program. It's a nice show. Sound like my grandparents calling it a program. Watching the stories, exactly. I'll start thinking Peter Jennings is still doing the news. That was their chosen newscaster after Cronkite, of course, after Cronkite retired. And we'll add some snazzy lines and some spatter and stuff like that. So don't you worry, we'll snazz it up. I love dry brush, but I have to be feeling bold to do it. So you folks have helped me to get into that mindset. You use dry brush too, Allison. I've seen it on your stuff occasionally, where you go in and add a nice little effect with it. I have to flatten some of this, so forgive me if this part is boring. Do you use a dry brush? Do you use like a watercolor brush or a brush pen that you just swipe real fast? Like, what's your preferred dry brush technique or tool? Like, if you have a special brush that you prefer. I find sometimes even the crummy, cheaper brushes work really well for dry brush. I've got a really cheap synthetic one I bought at Michael's years ago that I still use for a different dry brush technique. It's good for speed lines. Heck, I don't even know if they still make that type of brush anymore. I guess that's how I know I'm getting older, is that I don't know if they still make the brush that I use. That should be one of those merit badges you earn as like an artist, is like you make art long enough to where they stop making one of the things that you like. You get that merit badge. Allison says she has a bunch of varying sizes of junk brushes that you use. Yeah, yeah. Because you can't use a good brush, because a good brush gets you that clean line. You don't wanna waste that. While that's drying, we'll just add some more texture to this planet. This is just a small, this is actually the European sizes. I got a set of these because I wanted an FH brush pen to try, because this is what Kyle Hotz uses. He was using these on his stream, and they only came in the European set, which I had to order off the website, and it's got a nice little firm flex to it. I've been using it on like darker hair and things because it makes a cleaner line than a brush. But it came with other ones like this 0.3, but it's this is exactly the same as the small. If you're, shopping at a regular art supply, the 0.3 is the same as the regular small nib. All right, we can start doing some of the fun stuff. We can add some, make sure I got one of my credit cards. Starbucks card, that works pretty well for the spatter. The best card for spatter, and I mean this, and I would actually put this in a Google review, is the AAA membership card, the brown one. It's like a brownish gold color. Pepsi gotta have it card. Okay, all right, I'm gonna have to look that one up. See if I can find one of those on eBay. Still not dry yet. Looks like I saturated the paper. Too much ink. If I find one on eBay, Allison, I will send you the link for a Pepsi gotta have it card. It reminds me of when it could remind me of when it was the Burlesque House episode of The Simpsons when Moe and who was it, Groundskeeper Willie are heading towards the house, and Moe's like, "I'm gonna steal me a toilet," and Groundskeeper Willie yells, "Yeah, well, there better be two." That might be a reference too far down the rabbit hole, but Isaiah says sick. Thanks, man. I might actually have to tape this down. Isaiah says sick. Isaiah, yours is one of the things I have to get in the mail. I'm sorry I haven't put it in the mail yet. Isaiah picked up one of the jam sketch covers. I'm a little jealous. Because that was anytime I get to do a jam with my buddy Jeff. So I had someone ask me how to do the credit card technique, and I explained it, basically putting it on the edge and flicking it, but it does take practice. As I'm sure Allison, you've you've used it plenty of times, so I'm sure you've gotten your 10,000 hours of flicking the credit card. I actually think using a brush and then um, blowing on it is a better way to start with spatter. Um, Yeah, that's the other technique I use. I'll use a little brush, like this, and I'll put some white on it, and I'll blow on it. But this method is better for bigger dots. You can see those dots are bigger, and the brush technique is actually better for smaller dots, when you blow on it. My pen is out of ink, so I have to use it as just a brush instead of a brush pen. So some of this we have to cover up because we're losing some of the structure on our hand. Some of it we don't, but some of it we do. And then occasionally you get the ones that look like little stretchy things. You got to cover those up. Now I'm at an impasse on one part of this. The corner box art. I love corner boxes, but it is kind of ruining the effect. But I think I'll leave it. Yeah, no problem. It makes bigger dots. Yeah. And then you can go in and you can add, if you want like a big star right there. I find that having a few big stars is good too. Like you just go in and you just drop a little bit here and there. We'll put one right here. I think we need one more strike. And I made it 2 instead of 1. But that's okay. Jonathan says he's digging this piece a lot. Thanks, man. Brian asks, have you ever done color stars so that the background looked like a Hubble photo? I've done spatter with other colors, but it's usually after I've done like a watercolor. I'll use a really thick. At that point, it becomes more of a gouache technique, and I'll use something like this, but in color. This is like a bleed-proof white. Um, I'll take paint right out of the tube, like this magenta right here, and put it on a. How is it 9:46? It's got to be 10 o'clock, right? We never finish a piece under 10, less than our usual time. I credit you guys for picking me up today. It's been really nice. Everybody's been very sweet. Well, I think we'll just sign it and we'll call it a night. How about that? What do we sign it with? I think we need a bolder. I think we need a 1.5. We got one of those in here. There we go. Now, one of the things I do, because nobody knows who I am, I write my name. And then if there's any significance I have to the character or the company. I've never done a ROM cover, but I've done other stuff for IDW. So, well, we will call it a night. Thanks everybody for coming out, and yeah, I hope you all have a lovely week. And I really appreciate you picking me up today. I hope I see you next week, and I hope everybody, Allison, I hope you feel better, and I will see you all soon. Good night.